Hello, everyone, and welcome to Up to Bat. I'm your host, Rayna Maggelet, and today I'm joined alongside 20-year-old PO and DH at Bethel University in St. Paul, Minnesota, Aidan Nelson. Today, Aidan and I will be sharing more about him, his past, present, and future with baseball, his recent Tommy John surgery, being coached and mentored by former MLB player, and his journey to making it to the majors. Let's get started. Hi, Aidan. Let's obviously acknowledge the elephant in the room, your brace you're wearing. How are you feeling in general and post surgery?
I'm feeling really optimistic about it. The surgery went very well. They took my patellar tendon, put it in my elbow, braced my ligament that's already there. And so it's looking like it's going to be a quicker recovery than we first thought. So I'm excited to get started with PT in these next coming weeks, as well as getting back on the field.
Perfect. How did you prepare for such an important surgery in your life?
I made sure to keep my body as physically fit as possible. I lifted, I ate right, and as well as I made sure to talk with people that have been through surgeries like this before. That way, I made sure I get myself mentally prepped for this as well.
Physically, obviously, you faced some setbacks, but what about mentally? Have there been any roadblocks that you faced so far? Or would you say you're mentally pretty stable dealing with this?
Mentally was definitely a very big part of this.
Mhm.
Just thinking about the long recovery process that I'm about to endeavor in, the surgery itself, I'm not in control at all. So I'm trusting
Mhm.
somebody else with my future, more or less. So mentally, yes, it was very tough, but talking with family, friends, I have a very strong support system and they're helping me get through this.
What are some goals you have for your comeback season?
Goals, I want to get back to my original velocity of sitting around the mid 90s. I want to have better command, better mechanics. That way I can make sure this doesn't reoccur ever again. Because once is enough for Tommy John. And yeah, more or less, those are my main goals, as well as making sure I can help my team get another MIAC win.
Yeah, there we go. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the podcast. But backtracking a little bit, obviously, baseball is and always will be a huge role in your life. So, at what age specifically did you first step foot on the baseball field?
So when I first stepped on a baseball field, I think I was about 4 or 5. But I've been swinging a bat ever since I was walking. I have videos of family members tossing me the old wiffle ball and me using one of those little plastic let's play bats. So I've been playing baseball ever since I can remember. But yes, first time probably 4 or 5 was when I stepped on a field.
So I think we can all agree that throughout our childhood, we were forced to participate in a sport or a hobby by our parents. So was baseball something your parents forced you into, or was it more out of self-interest?
No, this was completely self-interest. I've loved the sport since day one. Parents definitely helped me keep that love of it through making sure that I had coaches that I liked and quality teachers, such as pitching coaches and hitting coaches and stuff like that. So, no, no forcing needed for me to play baseball. I love the sport.
Yeah. Now I know this, but not all the viewers might. You actually did play other sports growing up, such as basketball, football, and track. So what made you or what helped you with that decision to narrow it down to dedicate all your time and energy towards baseball?
Well, unfortunately, all those sports were simply I wasn't playing baseball at the time, and so I needed something to help condition myself for baseball. So in my mind, everything's been focused back to baseball.
Pairing with that, when was it that you knew you wanted to take it serious in hopes to one day make it to the pros?
I think high school is when it started. As soon as I was looking at colleges and doing research for that, I knew that baseball wasn't something I wanted to give up after high school.
Mhm.
Diamond Bar, I had a great coach, John Hurst, and he was also an ex-Yankees player. He went to their minor league system, and he was a great coach and just only made me love baseball more.
Awesome. We love hers. So talking about colleges, you got visitation invites and offers from a lot of schools, and I'm going to name them all. Okay. Ottawa University, Bethel University, Menio College, University of Dubuque, Antelope Valley College, Golden West College, Marymount University, University of Lynchburg, University of Wisconsin, Clearly University, Dominican University, Winona State University, Butler University, North Carolina Wesleyan College, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Upper Iowa University, Vanguard University, and Lawrence University. Humbly speaking, were you expecting to receive so many offers and invitations?
Honestly, no. I think especially with COVID being a big part of that whole situation when I was being recruited and such, that I was expecting very few offers. I did injure my UCL back in high school, my sophomore year. So overall, I only played 2 years of high school baseball due to a loss of COVID and a loss during injury. So no, I didn't expect it. I did showcases as much as I could, but they weren't very uplifting of me. They always said I had more work to do and that I really wasn't a fit for their college. So just being able to enter NCAA and get all these different offers from schools that most of which I've never heard of was kind of eye-opening and very exciting because I didn't think I'd get that.
So obviously, out of all those options, you choose Bethel, hence the hat. What was the process of elimination like for you when it came down to committing to a school? And what exactly were you looking for in a college or university?
Well, to start off, what I was looking for the baseball team specifically
Mhm.
was I wanted to see a team that wanted to win. I wanted to see good records in the past. I wanted to see coaching staff, kids that they had recruited this current year. So I did all of that research when I was looking at colleges. And then I got to Bethel and I liked Bethel. Bethel had a lot of kids coming in that had great numbers coming out of high school. They looked like a team that wanted to win. And so I asked to visit them. And so they flew me out and I got to stay the night and I saw practice. I saw the school itself. The school itself is gorgeous. You don't get seasons in California like you do in Minnesota. So school was gorgeous. I love the smaller community that Bethel is, but the team is really what sold me. The baseball is why I'm going to Bethel first and foremost. So the schooling is unfortunately secondary. But I talked with the head pitching coach and I really liked his approach to the game. And then I talked with Robbie and I loved Robbie. He wants to win and he's not trying to hide that fact. He tells us every day he's going to play the guys that deserve to play and he'll help us get another ring. And he's going to sit whoever isn't ready or up to the task. And I learned that the hard way freshman year.
Yeah. Were there any other schools that you were torn between when it came to making your final decision of where you're committing?
No, nope. Bethel, I was set on, and I'm glad I made that choice every day.
Following up with that, what has been the biggest challenge or adjustment you faced training and playing with a D3 4-year university compared to high school and club and all that in the past?
I think D3 is unique in a contrast to D1 and D2, not just high school. As in one, we have a down period. So from I think around November to January, you can't have any contact with coaches. There's a quiet period and you really have to like dig deep and it's really up to you to determine whether you want to be an excellent team that year or just a mediocre team. And so in that, I think it's a lot more self-serving and more you have to have the willpower yourself. It's not coaches telling you what to do, how to do it. They give you the structure and you are the one that has to follow through and show that commitment to the team.
That's awesome. I love the way that they do that also. Last year, talking about the MIAC, last year, but Bethel won the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, also known as the MIC Championship. And you were the closer with the game-ending pitch. Congratulations. Obviously, that's incredible.
Thank
Seeing
you.
that video is insane. What does that moment mean to you?
That moment honestly means the world to me. Freshman year, not the greatest year for me. I was slotted to be a starter, didn't show up to the coach's expectations, so I didn't play very much. And to have them come back the next year, put that full trust in me, not only to play, but to close that final game of the season, it meant the world. I loved the support that the players gave me, that the coaches gave me. And let me tell you, dog piles are fun to watch, but not to be underneath.
What was that flip, like the switch that you flipped mentally and physically to bounce back from a rough start your freshman year to having the game ending pitch? what kind of was that flip like for you going from having a rough freshman year to incredible sophomore year?
Well, our coach's famous phrase is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And in that, I think that really helped me just in the fact that one, we did have a new head pitching coach my sophomore year, and
Mhm.
he got a lot more into the mechanical aspects of pitching, not just the mental. And in that, I think I'm a very much more a mechanical, I need that mechanical emphasis in my
Yeah.
pitching. And thus, I just had a much better season. And I was comfortable. It was a freshman year. I'm in a new state, a
Yeah.
1,000 miles away from my home state. And I just more or less wasn't comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, good job on becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. Let's talk about your relationship with Brian Robbie. So Robbie is head coach for Bethel University's baseball team, and for some of you, that name might actually sound familiar as he played in the majors throughout the 90s. He is a former infielder who played for the Minnesota Twins, Colorado Rockies, and Seattle Mariners, as well as playing for the New York Yankees franchise. And like I mentioned, now coaches for Bethel. So Aidan, you have created, and I quote, an intimate yet professional and exciting connection throughout your going on now 3 years playing for them. So, how has that mentorship and coaching style of his shaped you into the player you are today?
Honestly, I love Robbie's coaching style. He's very straightforward. He's going to tell you what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not, which is just ideal for any coach. And I think that's great to have as a coach in this kind of current climate that we're in and everything. He's not soft. He'll get on you when he knows you're better than what you're performing.
Mhm.
So in that way, he got on me a lot, and I appreciate every moment of it. We had disagreements, and he's completely okay with that. He wants us to have our own opinion. He has a way of doing things, but he's okay with us thinking there's a different way to do it, as long as we get the job done in the end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if as long as he's saying something and you do the opposite and you don't prove him right, you're fine.
What differences have you noticed between the coaching staff at Bethel compared to where you played previously and trained under other coaches?
It's a lot more professional. I mean, they have the equipment, they have a lot of different things that my high school and my previous teams didn't have. Obviously, it is college. And in that, they have a lot more experience. I mean, we have a pro player, we had a player that was in the minor leagues. We've had tons of different guys that have reached just immense heights in their baseball careers that now get to coach to us. So we're learning from a lot of great players, and their way of teaching it to us is just phenomenal. They're very straightforward. They don't really care whether we like what we're hearing or not. They just tell it like it is, and if you don't like it, there's the door.
Now, I know you have a very intimate connection with the Yankees franchise. Your background's a little blurred, so the viewers can't really tell, but you even have a signed ball from Babe Ruth, a piece of brick, dirt, and two authenticated chairs from the house that Ruth built. So, what does this franchise mean to you? Because obviously you're a super fan.
A little bit. So the story goes back. I had an uncle that lived in New York during the Great Depression, and he sold a car to Babe Ruth, and in return, Babe Ruth signed a baseball for him. Then, when they were destroying the stadium, he just went up and asked. He's like, "Can I get two chairs from the stadium?" And they are, yeah, sure. So we picked number 2 and 3 for Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
That's
So, I mean, baseball is pretty much in my blood. My great grandpa played for the Expos before he was drafted. My grandpa played for the Brooklyn Dodgers minor league before he was, funnily enough, drafted for Vietnam War. And so baseball's been, it's a pedigree kind of thing in my family.
yeah.
So I've always been a part of it. And it just so happened that the Yankees were the team that I was guided towards when I was little.
So after that last question, I feel pretty confident in what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask anyways. In a perfect world, what MLB team would you play for?
Oh, in a perfect world, I think we both know it's the Yankees. I
Oh, I
mean,
was going to say the Red Sox, but yeah, that works too.
absolutely not. That's across the
Hmm.
pond, and I'm good. No.
So what?
Fenway's nice, but Yankee Stadium's nicer.
Debatable. The history at Fenway though is unmatched. I stand by that forever.
Of
But
course. You
of course, what major league player, current or former, has inspired you the most?
Former player, I think one of them would be Nolan Ryan.
Right.
As I've been through this whole Tommy John surgery debacle and just figuring out what was wrong and all of that, I actually did some research and found out that Nolan Ryan also had a bone chip in his arm while he played in the MLB. So just seeing that someone else went through what I went through
Mhm.
and performed exponentially. I mean, I think he topped at like 107
Yeah.
but we don't have the radar guns for that, so it's up for debate. But that's whatever. Just knowing that someone else that made it and succeeded in the
Mhm.
MLB had what I had, is just an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah.
Another player would be Otani himself, as this is his second time going through Tommy John.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's still such a huge player in the MLB, despite being constantly on the IL, he just signed a $700 million contract, and
Yep.
he's going through the same thing I'm going through
Yeah.
in some respects. So knowing that there are guys playing professionally that are going through what I'm going through is just, it's easy
Comforting.
to make sure I can like keep focused and know that I can still make it.
Yeah. So from your personal life, who has played the biggest or one of the biggest roles in your baseball career?
Definitely my grandpa. Um, my grandpa on my mom's side, he and my dad's side, but primarily my mom's side because was with him almost every day. He used to take me to a bunch of my little league games over in Hacienda. He would take me to practices, pick me up, all this different stuff. And he was in the minor leagues for the Billiken Dodgers. So I always went to him when I had questions about my batting stance and stuff like that. Or he would just offer his advice because he saw I was sucking. So get me out of a slump, he'd correct me or something. So
Yeah.
it's great. It was great to have him help coach me through these years, and he still does to this day.
What would you say your greatest strengths are as a pitcher?
As a pitcher, I think with the exception of freshman year, my mental fortitude and my
Mhm.
ability to stay focused despite my emotions rising or falling, depending on how the game's going, I
Mhm.
think that's now is one of my strengths now that I've mentally matured and just gotten a better head for the game itself. Physically, I think is another good strength for me. I always keep my body healthy. I'm always in the gym trying to work out and just perfect the machine that I'm trying to create. So I think both of those are definitely my two strengths for pitching.
Last but most important question, in my opinion, what goals and where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
My goal is to play Major League Baseball. And in my perfect world for the Yankees, but any organization, I want to play. It doesn't matter who I play for. I want to play and I want to win. So whether it's the A's, the Orioles, the Yankees, the Dodgers, I'll play for them. I don't care.
And I'm sure you're gonna make it. We talk about it all the time. Well, one day I'll be interviewing him up in the big leagues.
I
So
can't wait for it.
I'm sure we will. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's one-on-one interview. Aiden, thank you again so much for making time. I know it's been rough with your surgery, but it means a lot to me
Thank
that
you for
you
having
made the
me.
time to talk. And yeah,
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
guys again for watching. And this is Up to Bat with Rayna Maggelet. Bye.